Since the government pledged compensation for those wrongly classified as illegal immigrants in the Windrush scandal, only around 13% of victims have received any money.
One of those offered compensation is Anthony Bryan, but he rejected his offer of just over £96,000 from the Home Office, claiming it was not enough for what he has been through. His story of hardship inspired the BAFTA-winning drama Sitting in Limbo. Unfortunately, the sound hasn't worked properly on that. But Anthony joins us now alongside the Labour MP, Butler, who has been critical of the government's handling of the compensation. Very good morning to you, Anthony and Dawn. And, you know, it's good to have you here to mark the 75th anniversary of Windrush. But sadly, you're here with a story to tell that is not positive, is it? Because you feel that the government has not recognised the pain of what people like you, your generation, went through. Now, you were 5 years old when your mum left with your grandmother to come to London, leaving you behind in Jamaica. And at 8 years old, you flew to the UK to live with your mum. But when you applied for a British passport in 2015, what happened?
Well, because the Home Office employed a company, Capita, and they came around and knocked down my door and told me, say I'm an illegal immigrant, and then locked me up, put me to the detention centre. But 166 miles from where I was living, they think I'm a prisoner or something, I would rob somewhere or something. It was embarrassing.
So for decades, you had been living in this country, contributing, working, paying taxes, looking after your mother for decades.
For decades.
And then the UK government says to you, you are an illegal immigrant. You have no right to work here, and threaten you with deportation.
They did threaten me. I had a ticket to leave the country. Because, to be honest, when they locked me up, I signed. They broke me. I signed to go back. To be honest, I couldn't stay in the locker because I was just, you know. So I signed to go back to somewhere I didn't even know I was going to Jamaica. Yeah.
And you have been offered, as part of the compensation scheme for that treatment, you've been offered the best part of £100,000. Now, a number of people watching might think, well, that's a lot of money. Why would you turn it down?
Well, it is a lot of money, but if you break it down, because they gave me $26,000 for locking me up. They gave me an interim payment for burying my mum. They gave me another interim payment to bury my son because my son died a week after my mother. So within the space of a week, I had to bury my son and my mum. So by the time they take the interim payment out, the lawyer's fees, it'll be like about 60,000 left. Now, for what they put me through, I didn't think that was enough money.
Where are you with your compensation claim now, though?
I couldn't even tell it because it's going to the ombudsman.
Yeah.
And I know nothing because they said 6 weeks after it got to the ombudsman, you would hear something. It's been 8 months now.
8 months.
I know.
Do you regret turning it down now? Seeing it's been 8 months, you've not heard anything?
No, I don't regret turning it down. It's just I regret not hearing nothing from it for 8 months. But I was badgering to take in the money anyway because they were saying to me, if I wanted to bury my mum, why don't I just take the money? You know, and I thought, nah, you just get my back up.
Yeah.
Dawn Butler, it makes you realise that you can't put a price on the pain that people have experienced. When you know, Anthony's lived here for decades, contributed, is a British citizen.
Anthony was working, earning 40,000 or so a year. That doesn't even cover the money he would have earned in wages being locked up for that period of time. But it makes me angry that the trauma still continues. And it makes me angry that the Home Office, Suella Braverman, you know, I couldn't look at her this week in the chamber because when you look at her, she is empty behind the eyes. She actually doesn't care. And what needs to happen is that this compensation scheme needs to be taken out of the Home Office and given to an independent organisation that cares and has empathy, because this will not work. anybody with a heart would not hear Anthony's story and say, okay, we'll still keep him hanging on. And I tell you what, Susan, I feel that this government is waiting for people to die.
Yep.
So they don't have to pay. They've only paid out, as you say, about 13%. And they're patting themselves on the back. They don't really want to pay out compensation. They don't want to take responsibility. They want people to die so they don't have
They
to
will
pay
argue,
that.
sorry, they will argue that they've offered more than that, but there are some victims who have turned down that compensation. They haven't settled the compensation claim, but they'll say 30% has been settled, and they have tried to give more.
But if you compare what they're offering to other schemes, like from the vibration white finger compensation scheme, or from other schemes where they look at like injury and employment loss, it's minute
Ridiculous.
compared to what. So why is it that again the Windrush generation, especially, are treated in an inferior manner to other compensation schemes? Why is that? Why is that differential treatment? Why are they compounding the hurt?
That's interesting. So you mentioned what's it, industrial injury compensation schemes have paid out more or have paid out closer to the 100% of compensation victims?
They paid out more, and the assessment is way different. So the burden of proof is on the Windrush generation to burden of proof. You know, you're working for 40 years and they want your wage slip for 40 years. Who keeps wage slips for 40 years? That's ridiculous. But the government needs to take the burden of proof. They're the one that created and amplified the hostile environment. Burden of proof should be on them, not on the people that have suffered. They've suffered.
Also, Anthony, I know that, you know, it's very hard. I mean, I know from applying for official documents, it's quite hard to find your birth certificate. If you've come from Jamaica as an 8-year-old when your mother left when you were 5, it must be even harder to try and track down your birth certificate.
It is harder because the onus is on you to go and find all these documents. It's just lucky that I knew somebody who's working in the council and they helped me in that way. But
And also the thing is this, Anthony now doesn't look it, but he's retired.
yeah,
So how long's that money going to last? How long's 60,000 going to last in London?
Anthony, it's, you know, how do you feel now? We're sort of 8 years on from what happened to you and the trauma of all that. Do you feel comfortable and safe here in the UK?
well, to be honest, I did always love England because I come here, I don't know nothing about England. So I did love England until I went through all this with the sound. Because at the time when they issued me a ticket to go back to Jamaica, I was upset. I was upset. Yeah, I was upset because, you know, it's hard to put in words. It's just that
This was home.
yeah, it was on for me because, as I said, I didn't know Jamaica, you know, and then to be told that yes, you got a ticket. If it wasn't for my Mrs. Janet, I'd probably be in Jamaica because I give up. I did give up, to be honest. I was ready to go back to a country I didn't know.
Yes. I mean, the irony of saying go back.
Yeah.
I mean, yes,
You know.
you were there for just a handful of years, weren't you? This is
And
your
then
home.
the ridiculous part of it as well, when in the detention centre where I was, they were saying that, well, if you can't afford to go back, they will give you £1,000.
Yeah.
It's an insult.
You know what I mean? It's
The
crazy.
whole system is cruel.
Yeah. Well, we really appreciate you being here today.
It's a pleasure.
It should be a reason to celebrate, Dawn. I know that 75 years on, you're celebrating, aren't you, with your mum?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm taking my mum to some Windrush events. But as I say, celebration is one thing, respect is another.
Absolutely right, yeah. Thank you very much indeed. Home Office spokesperson did say the whole of government remain absolutely committed to righting the wrongs of the Windrush scandal. Got a long way to go. It sounds like.
I do not trust them at all.
Okay,
Thank you
well,
for joining us.